Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the second episode of the Karey Carbaugh podcast. Can't even say my own name here tonight. Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in again. You guys asked for it. I did one last week and didn't think I'd get a whole lot of responses to it, but I had several people ask me to do another one, so here we are back again. And I wanted to come on tonight and first of all wish everybody here a very, very happy new year. I hope you're all enjoying some rest and relaxation. Maybe you've been off work for a little while and getting ready to go back to work. Hopefully you've had some time to just kind of rest and enjoy some time with family over this past week. I know I have. I'm getting ready to go back to work tomorrow, but I've been off for a week or so now. And can't say that I'm ready to go back, but ready or not, here we go. And here we are in 2025. So once again, Happy New Year. I wanted to jump on here tonight. This may not be quite as long of a podcast as last week. We'll see how long we go. But I wanted to jump on and talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions. I don't know how many of you have made New Year's resolutions. I'm not going to try and respond to people in the chat again. I didn't last week, and I'm not going to try to this week either. But if you've made New Year's resolutions, put a resolution in the chat, and I'll read through those later. If you want to share what your resolution is, feel free to. Don't feel like you have to. But just put resolution if you've made a New Year's resolution in the chat. And if you're watching this live, if you could put live in the chat. Or if you're watching it on replay, put replay or put an R in the chat. Then I'll know who's watching live and who's watching on replay. Am I live? I just had a sinking feeling that I was not live, but I think I am live. So, we're going to go ahead with this, and hopefully you can all hear me. Yep, I am live. Okay. Sorry for that brief interruption. I just saw something here on the screen, and I thought maybe I wasn't live. So, let's jump into New Year's resolutions. Like I say, if you've made resolutions, put an R, or actually no, put resolution, because I asked you to put an R if you're watching this on replay. So let's talk a little bit about resolutions. I did a little bit of research, and it turns out that some of the numbers vary, but somewhere around 40 to 50% of Americans in the U.S. today make New Year's resolutions. So a fairly large number of us actually make New Year's resolutions. I must admit, I've never really formally made a New Year's resolution, at least not that I can remember. But what's interesting about New Year's resolutions is although 40 to 50% of Americans make New Year's resolutions, only about anywhere from 20 to 40%, what I was researching says that about 40% of people will not follow through with those resolutions and will abandon them by the end of the first month. So about 20% of the people will abandon them within the first week. About 20% of those who made New Year's resolutions. And about 40% of those who made New Year's resolutions will abandon them within the first month. The numbers vary a little bit, but that seemed to be pretty consistent. So why is that? Why do people make New Year's resolutions, but many people don't follow through with them and end up abandoning them within the first month. The numbers actually go much higher. Some studies show that nearly 80% of people will abandon their New Year's resolutions before the end of the year. It was hard to find exactly the time frame after a month out. But why do we think that is? Why do people not follow through with their resolutions? Do they not have the intention to start with? I don't think that's the case. I think most people really intend to do better. They intend to lose weight. They intend to work out more, join a gym. I think people have the right intentions. But I think, and this is my opinion here, backed up somewhat by research, but really mostly my opinion, I think many people struggle when they make their New Year's resolutions. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time talking tonight. I think many people struggle when they make their New Year's resolutions. First of all, they may not have the support group around them, the accountability partners, to help them succeed, to help them actually follow through. It's hard to do things on our own. We may have great intentions. We're going to go to the gym. We're going to work out every day before we go to work. And then we wake up in the morning and, oh, I just don't really feel like going to the gym today. So we skip a day. And then maybe, the next day it's really cold. I don't know where you're living, but here in Colorado, where I'm from, January can be a cold month. It hasn't been all that cold this year, but January can be a cold month. So the second day, maybe you wake up and, it's cold. I don't really feel like getting up and going to the gym. So, it doesn't really matter. 2 days, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, before we know it, one day turns into 2, turns into 3, and the next thing we know, we've missed a week. So now what's the point of a New Year's resolution? We're already a week down and we haven't made it hardly at all. So without an accountability partner or a group of people, we talked a little bit about finding your community last week. And this is another example of where finding your community and surrounding yourself with those people who are going to lift you up, who are going to help make you accountable, not to beat you up for missing a day at the gym or eating that extra 100 calories that you swore off of for the new year. Not so much to beat you down, but rather to lift you up and to hold you accountable. So I think that's one thing that could help with New Year's resolutions. But as I was preparing for this podcast, the other thing that occurred to me, and some of this comes from some coaching classes that I've been in recently, maybe another approach that would be easier and get us to the same goal would be a 30, 60, or 90-day challenge. Rather than setting our sights on the whole year at once, the whole 365 days, what if we took it off in small, incremental, bite-sized chunks that we could manage? And maybe we start with a 30-day challenge. That does a few things for us. Number one, I think having that accountability group is still very important. But one thing that a shorter challenge period will do is if you miss a day, a week, hopefully not a month, but maybe you miss a day or two or a week. If it's a 30-day challenge, you can start over again. You don't have to wait for the next new year. So you missed your 30-day challenge. You can start over again the next week or even the next day and start your 30-day time clock again, or your 60 or 90, whatever it is. But the other thing that this does, I think, for human psychology, my background is actually in psychology and sociology, although it's been a number of years, but I think one thing that this does for us psychology is it gives us some encouragement. It gives us a way to lift ourselves up, to use that accountability group. And if we fall short, we pick ourselves back up and start over again. We don't have to wait another whole year to make another New Year's resolution. It's a new day. Make a new day resolution. And if you fall short a day or two, that's okay. You can pick yourself back up. You can start it over again. Or you can just continue on the 30-day challenge knowing that maybe you missed a day or two. That's okay. And I think it's okay to be okay with that and to not beat yourself up over small things. As long as your intentions are there and you're trying, whether it's losing weight, whether it's working out at the gym, whether it's a financial goal, whatever that resolution is, whether it's a relationship goal, maybe you fall short a day or two. But that's okay. And I think it's okay to be okay with that. The other thing I wanted to go into a little bit tonight, and I may do another podcast down the road going into this a little deeper, but it's important when we set our goals to set those goals realistically and with a plan, with a purpose or a plan in mind. Not just, oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Let's go. It's a new year. No, you have to have a plan. If you're going to set out to accomplish something, you have to have a plan. And then it's important to stick to that plan. I learned recently, and I did a little bit of research on this, and this is the piece that I may do another separate podcast because I think it warrants a little more depth than what I want to go into tonight. But I think it's important to touch on this along with our New Year's resolutions. And that is to stay on course. When you set a plan, it's important to stay the course and to follow that plan. Whether it's a plan you set or a plan that you took from someone else that maybe you adopted, follow that plan. One thing I learned recently, if we deviate from a plan, or rather if a pilot, let me start there, if a pilot deviates from a plan by 1 degree, there's this thing that I recently found because I was trying to figure out how to calculate this. It's the rule of 60. And that says that if a pilot is off course by 1 degree and travels 60 miles, they're going to be off course by 1 mile. So if that may not seem like that much, 60 miles, you're off course by 1 mile. Not terrible. You can go back on course. But let's say you're off course by, let's say, 10 degrees in 60 miles. Now all of a sudden, you're off course by 10 miles. And that could be significant, especially if you're trying to land that plane on a runway, maybe in the Hawaiian Islands, and 10 miles out is going to put you in the middle of the ocean. Maybe you're running out of fuel and you don't have enough fuel to correct back 10 miles to get you back on course to where you need to be. Or maybe you're traveling further than 60 miles. That's only a 60-mile example. Maybe you're traveling further than 60 miles. And that could be significant. It doesn't seem all that significant with small numbers. But if you're traveling a long way, that could be pretty significant. Let's take us back to our New Year's resolution. Let's say you set out to lose 60 pounds, but you didn't quite follow the plan. And so maybe you were off a degree and only lost 59 pounds. Well, that's not too bad. But let's say you're really not following the plan and you're off 10 degrees, which still isn't all that much. Now instead of losing 60 pounds, you only lose 50 pounds. Okay, that's still not too bad. At least you lost the 50 pounds. That's an accomplishment. And that's certainly something to celebrate. But now let's say you're off course by, I don't know, let's say 50 or 60 degrees. Still not much, but you're off course. You're not a whole 90 degrees off course. You're only off by roughly half of that, a little more than half of that. You're off by 60 or 50 to 60 degrees though. Now all of a sudden, instead of losing 60 pounds, you didn't lose a single pound. Still not much off course, but enough that it's hard to correct it. And especially if you don't realize that you're off course until the end of your whatever 30, 60, 90-day challenge. If you don't realize it till you're getting close to the end of the challenge, then it's much harder to correct. And so that's something else I wanted to bring into this whole concept of a New Year's resolution is I'm not saying don't make New Year's resolutions, but I am saying that it's maybe more important to make goals and plans that you can follow. Maybe that is a New Year's resolution. Maybe New Year's Day is the time that fits right for you to make those plans and set those goals. But maybe it's not. Maybe January 12th is a better day. Maybe February 13th is a better day. And that's okay. Set a 30, 60, 90-degree goal. Set a plan and stay the course. And complete that plan, whatever that plan is, whether it's financial, relationships, whatever that plan is, stay the course. And with a good, proven plan, you will be successful at whatever goal you set out to achieve. So that's my message I have for you tonight. I hope this has been valuable. I hope you found value. I just realized, and I realized this after I got off the podcast last week, I think most of you know me, but I should introduce myself. My name is Karey Carbaugh, hence the name of the podcast, the Karey Carbaugh Podcast. And I am new to this. I'm starting out here, but my goal is to set up a community that helps people find their purpose through faith and through consistent and persistent effort to help people find themselves and to find their purpose. I'm still refining that, but that's my basic goal behind these podcasts. I'm sorry I didn't bring that up at the beginning of the podcast. I kind of jumped right into the meat of it. But I did want to introduce myself so that you know who I am. I think most of you that have been following this are friends already. But there may be some others that see this online. So with that, I'm going to end this now and wish you all a very happy new year. I hope that 2025 is happy and prosperous and healthy for all of you. And I wish you all the best until next time. My plan is to be back on here again next Wednesday at the same time. Stay tuned and watch my Facebook page. Eventually we're going to have this on other platforms, but we're starting out on Facebook now. So watch my Facebook page. Stay tuned, and I will let you know throughout the week if the plan changes. But at this point, my plan is the same time next Wednesday. So until then, have a great week, and thanks again for joining me. Happy New Year. Bye for now.